What's going on, everybody? Tom here. Hope you're having a great day. Today, I want to chat with you about tiny steps versus giant leaps. So I first heard of this concept called tiny habits by the director of the Persuasion Lab at Stanford University. His name's Dr. BJ Fogg. He's got a fantastic free course, 5 days, called Tiny Habits. I highly recommend Googling that and going through it yourself. Very fascinating, but really gives a unique perspective and excellent framework into behavior change. And this is something, so changing behaviors, especially in the weight loss space and the fitness space, is something I've been very intrigued about since I started coaching, working with clients as a personal trainer in 2007. Because you can have the ultimate best weight loss plan, you can have the ultimate best workout plan, you can have the fanciest gear, the newest running shoes, the Fitbit, that tracks your calories and your heart rate, all this stuff, but that's not really gonna work if you set yourself up for failure. And you do that by taking giant leaps. So I'm gonna dive into this more, but this is a very important concept, especially for long-term successful weight loss, long-term progress in the gym, this idea of tiny steps versus giant leaps. So one thing I've seen, this is sort of the flavor of the day, especially around, like, people get very motivated at certain times of the year to make really big changes to their health, namely weight loss. So we're thinking New Year's or around January, and then again at beach season, June, July for the summer months. And the problem is that folks who basically, they go from living their life as is right now to say all of a sudden, hey, I want to lose all this weight. I want to go to the gym. I want to get in shape. I want to, do all these awesome things, which is fantastic, right? That's fantastic. But their approach is very much set up for failure because they go out and they try to just change everything all at once, taking that giant leap, diving headfirst into the rabbit hole, into the dark abyss, without understanding a framework or having a plan. Because what happens when you're highly motivated, you go for a week, and then all of a sudden life happens. You have to start working again, right? I see this happen a lot around New Year. People get motivated for a few weeks, and then all of a sudden they're back to their work routine, the family life, it's stressful. And the motivation starts to wane and fade. And, by the middle of February, the gym's basically back to pre-New Year's capacity. And it's just how it is every year because of giant steps, right? People need the framework. They need to even slow down, I would suggest, and take baby steps. So my mentor, right, a guy who's been very influential in my life the past decade, former Navy SEAL and owner of the site Seal Grinder PT. His name is Brad McLeod. He always asks the question, what are you doing to get 1% better every day? Notice he doesn't ask, what are you doing to get 15 or 20% better today? He asks, what are you doing to get 1% better? What are you doing to take one step forward? And that's because he understands the power of tiny steps for long-term habit change, right? Long-term success. And that's what I want to offer you is the framework and just a mindset shift. So if you do have a weight loss goal or a fitness goal, or any goal in general, the idea of tiny steps is always the way to success. It's very rare. Off the top of my head, I can think of no one who's just taken a giant leap and had long-term success for more than a few weeks. People fall off the wagon a lot faster than they think they will, especially when life happens and motivation starts to fade. So let's dive into what some of those tiny steps would actually look like, give you something tangible to chew on here. So in the weight loss, I'll use weight loss as the example because that's the world I'm very familiar with and have coached a lot of people in. In terms of weight loss, a tiny step would be, instead of, hey, I'm gonna go from where I'm at right now, which let's say you sleep 6 hours a night, you're stressed at work, you maybe don't drink more than 2 cups of water every day, you're not working out, maybe you sit at a desk 6 to 8 hours. This is starting to sound familiar. It sounds kind of like the normal working adult these days. And The problem is if you jump in, you buy the new workout shoes, you say, okay, I'm gonna work out, I'm gonna lose 20 pounds this year. Great. I mean, that's awesome, but how are you gonna do that? A tiny step would be, okay, before I drink any non-water drink, coffee, tea, anything with sugar, which I don't recommend, I would drink 2 or 3 fingers of water, right? I call that the 3-finger water challenge. Basically, that's like 1 or 2 sips. So that's a tiny step, right? You start to say, okay, what's the smallest thing I can possibly do to keep making progress forward? Well, drinking more water is a great one. In terms of sleep, if you're only sleeping 5 or 6 hours a night, or you get up frequently throughout the night, then your sleep quality is probably not great. A tiny step would be, okay, I'm going to get in bed 30 minutes earlier than that's even a big step. I'm gonna get in bed 5 minutes earlier than I normally do, and I'm gonna make sure my room is as dark as a cave, right? And then you start to say, okay, I'm gonna get in bed 10 minutes earlier than I normally do, 15 minutes, right? So you start to lengthen the time that you can get better sleep, and also set up your sleeping environment to be conducive to quality sleep. So these are tiny steps, right? Also saying, before I work out, I'm going to put my workout shoes at my bed so I have no excuse not to put them on in the morning, right? That's a tiny step. That's something that you can do every day. That's something that will help you get into the routine and the habit of working out. And then really, like, once you have these tiny steps to fall back on, it doesn't matter, because motivation's gonna come and go, right? It's gonna peak and it's gonna drop off to a valley. And that's just how it is. Even for me, I'm not always motivated to write or to work out or whatever, but I always can fall back on these tiny steps. It's like, okay, can I at least pick up my pen? Sure. Can I at least jot down one? I always have this rule, write 1 crappy sentence a day, and if that's all I write, then that's it, and I leave it and revisit it tomorrow. But it's because of this tiny step that I can consistently write and generate things that I enjoy writing about that help people, right? So, and that's what I'm sort of challenging you with. Figure out your tiny step. You don't have to have the world's best workout plan. You don't even need to have a great workout plan in the beginning. You just need to figure out how you're going to manage and keep making progress and keep taking one tiny, small baby step forward when motivation starts to wane, right? What happens when stress is high? What happens when you have to start working again? And those are the things I just want you to consider in the weight loss space, right? Just to kind of give you some more ideas. Sleep quality, right? We're looking for 7 to 9 hours of quality sleep each night. De-stress, so stress is a big reason why people have a hard time losing weight. That could be as simple as saying, okay, when I close my computer for the day, I'm going to close my mouth, take 1 long deep breath through my nose, hold it, and take 1 long exhale. That'll help you de-stress, it'll help you relax. So the stress piece is a good one. Other ideas are getting into like that breathing practice that I just mentioned, yoga, meditation, even though there's a weird stigma attached to that word, but all things to kind of declutter your headspace, get more present and increase your mindfulness. The exercise piece is definitely important, but again, you don't need the best exercise plan. It's just I would even recommend, if you're not working out currently, you go to the gym, just go to the gym, right? Just get in the habit of going to the gym. That's it. You don't even have to work out. You can just go there. And believe it or not, I've actually encouraged some clients to do this who are very new. And we decided on the days they weren't coming to see me, right? We didn't have a training session. All they had to do was just show up at the gym, walk in, and if that was it, then that was it. They left. But it wasn't obviously to get the world's best workout. It was to build the habit of getting in the car, taking the same route to the gym, right? Walking in, and eventually, it didn't take very long. They came to the gym naturally. That became part of their habit. And then the next phase was getting them into a workout that they could reasonably do within the time they had allotted. So that's a tiny step, right? A big step, and one that most people are gonna do, and it's gonna not go so well, I think, is dive right in, not give any mind. They just wanna go right to the weights, right to the machines, right to the cardio equipment, start knocking it out, and just go pedal to the metal. Like, that's not really a good framework for success. So I just encourage you, right, to to embrace the idea of tiny steps versus giant leaps because there's no rush. Tiny steps allows you to keep making daily progress, forward progress, even when life is crazy, it's chaotic, it's stressful, stuff falls off, your plans don't go as planned. And that's just how life is. So everything sounds great when you're sitting here watching this video, maybe stress levels are really low, but the idea is, can you still do this when everything is hitting the fan, right? And your life is just in chaos at that moment. And that's when a lot of people fall off. But if you can fall back on your tiny step, just keep asking yourself, okay, I might not be able to have the best workout today. I might not be able to do the best diet today. I might not be able to get the best sleep today. But what's the one thing I can do to at least improve 1% from yesterday, right? And that's, again, just could be small steps, small step, small step. One more example is in the workout space. So I've actually been talking with some clients right now. We're right about New Year time. So this is starting to be very relevant for a lot of folks. I've had some clients even say, hey, I don't feel like I have time to do these workouts for 20 or 30 minutes a day. I'm just not going to do anything. And I said, whoa. Do you have time to do 1 minute of working out? I call these little workouts 1 minute blasters. So the idea is you go in, or you don't even have to go anywhere, but the idea is you get a 1 minute really hard workout and that's it. That's all you have to do for the day. And it's crazy because folks that say they don't have time to work out do the first round and then they say, oh, I feel pretty good. That only took 1 minute. I'm going to do 2 or 3 or 4 or even 5 rounds of this 1 minute blaster workout. And before you know it, they have found 15 or 20 minutes and gotten a really vigorous workout at that point. Whereas before it just looked too overwhelming. But we always can fall back to the tiny step principle, right? And again, for a really, really, really awesome, fantastic look into behavior change, a more in-depth look, Google BJ Fogg 5-day tiny habit and sign up for his 5-day free email tiny habit course. I promise you it is mind-blowing. It will really give you a fascinating framework into building tiny habits. And the ideas in these videos have been sort of pieced together by his philosophy and ideology, but this is something I've been talking about with clients since 2007, the idea of tiny steps in terms of tiny steps versus giant leaps. So, but I'm really curious though for you too, if you are kind of struggling to figure out your next tiny step or what your tiny step could be during times of stress, leave a comment. Let me know. I'd be happy to help you figure out your next tiny step because I promise you tiny steps are the key to long-term success. Giant leaps are the ticket to a very quick crash and burn, fiery death kind of experience. And I don't want that to be you. So, drop your tiny step, drop your question in the comments, and let's get the conversation going. Hope this video is helpful. Talk to you guys soon.